Rotary Youth Exchange gives students, families, and volunteers the chance to learn a new culture and language, develop skills in leadership and service, build lasting friendships, and now young people are experiencing the world in an all-new way through virtual exchanges. Virtual exchanges are an alternative to connect and collaborate with people from other cultures and communities, and all from the comfort of your home. The exchanges are accessible, affordable, and available to students who might not otherwise participate. They are a unique opportunity to become global citizens, challenge biases, increase empathy for others, and promote peace through understanding. So, what do virtual exchanges look like? That's the best part. They include all kinds of activities and objectives, and you can customize your experience based on your interests. Share cultural lessons through cooking, virtual city tours, and an exploration of customs, values, and holidays. Learn a new language and have conversations on local and international issues. Design service projects that have a global impact and implement them in your local communities. Are you ready to start your Rotary Virtual Exchange? Take the next step in your journey to explore the world online.
Every year, over 350,000 young people participate in Rotary's youth programs. And thousands of mentors guide them as they develop their potential and take action in their communities. Service learning is a proven method for activating young people to address the root cause of community issues and hone their leadership skills. And along the way, inspiring them to create lasting change in their communities and themselves, setting them on a path for a lifetime of service. Foster growth in young leaders in your community with Rotary's service learning resources, our new approach to youth service. Resources are now available for both youth program participants and adult advisors. Start your service learning journey now at rotary.org/learn.
And one of the most exciting decisions taken by the board a couple of weeks ago at its latest meeting was to recognize that by adopting a position on promoting what we're calling now regional adaptability in action. You've heard that before, term regionalization and other things. And in short, we'll be giving the zones, regions, and districts and groups of clubs the opportunity to operate in an even more flexible and adaptable ways. The same sort of flexibility that the 2016 council legislation changes gave to our clubs, but at a zone, district, and group of club level. So we're not throwing out the rule book, and any adaptability will need to happen within the current code of policies, but we're just recognizing, as I said, that one size does not fit all. And the districts and clubs in particular should adapt, and zones and regions should adapt the way they organize and deliver Rotary experiences to give their members a better fit into their cultures, where they can have more say and ownership in how they operate. In fact, regional adaptability will identify the local and regional problems to solve and create customized solutions to better meet your needs of your members and your clubs, creating irresistible clubs in the process. I know some of you have heard me say that over the weekend, but I think it's worth repeating. And not that it isn't happening already. Our paired zones are already walking the talk through our regional membership action plan, soon to be followed by the foundation regional action plan being spearheaded, as I said, by past our director and treasurer, David Stovall, along with trustee chair-elect Barry. And these will complement our regional leadership structures, putting the right people with the right skill sets and the right jobs in structures designed to allow us to do an even better job in supporting our foundation and growing membership. The other main point that we should be focusing on intentionally at this time, I believe, is continuity. And whilst regional adaptive plans like zones, membership, and foundation plans are leading the way towards coordinating continuity at zone level, it means nothing if we're not able to achieve this at district and club level. So zone leaders, I'd ask you to congratulate your presidents where they succeeded this year, but please in these coming weeks ensure that they're encouraged them to not take their foot off the pedal, but instead double down their efforts to make sure they pass on the baton to their successors as successfully as they possibly can and as effectively as they possibly can. So I'm sure many of you, like Michelle and I, have been recently imagining what an amazing Rotary experience we're going to be having at the convention in Melbourne coming up shortly. And part of that will be our Southland celebration. Thanks to RID Patrick, and incoming RID, I should say, Patrick, Gary, PDG Gary Gunter, and the two Coops. We will be holding an amazing event on Sunday, May 28th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Hop House Bar and Restaurant, which is the 2022 winner of Victoria's Best Functioning Event Space. We're close to our 400-seat capacity, a few spaces left, so if you're still interested, register now. One last announcement, so you don't log in on the first Monday of next month in June. There will be no ZOOMformation call in June. The next one will be July 3rd, same time, same place. So looking forward to seeing you there and talking about what a great time we had in Melbourne and over the end of the year. At this point now, it's my great pleasure to introduce our first guest, our keynote speaker today, Jessie Dunbar-Bickmore, who's the manager of programs for young leaders and alumni relations at Rotary International. And I've had the pleasure of working with Jessie and her team as board liaison to the excellent Interact Advisory Council this year. And I can honestly say it's been one of the most enjoyable and inspirational Rotary experiences. So Jessie, over to you and welcome once again.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. I'm very glad to be here, and happy Youth Service Month. May 1st does mark our month of the year where we focus on the accomplishments and your involvement in youth programs. And so we thank you to everyone who's already involved in supporting our youth programs, and extend a welcome and encouragement to all of those of you who are interested in getting participated. And hopefully I'll be able to share some resources or inspiration for you today on how to get started. So again, my name is Jessie Dunbar-Bickmore. My pronouns are she, her, and I am Rotary's Programs for Young Leaders manager, along with our alumni relations team. And I support a team of folks at the Secretariat here just outside of Chicago in Evanston, Illinois, to support our structured programs for young leaders. So let's talk a little bit about what I'm here to share with you today. And I will be here through the question and answer. So I'll be in a breakout room. If any of you have specific questions, I'm going to walk through a lot of resources very quickly. So hopefully this should be more inspirational and less informational. If you want more information, you can always reach out to me and my team, and we'd be glad to support you. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of Rotary's programs for young leaders. We're going to talk about Rotary's new approach to youth service, which is service learning, programmatic support that's available to our members for Interact, RYLA, Rotary Youth Leadership Awards, and Rotary Youth Exchange, as well as give some of you an update on the evolution of Rotaract and how it's moved from a programs for young leader to a membership type. And then, of course, we'll have time during the breakout sessions for any questions you may have. So just to give you an impact a little bit overall about the scope of our programs, we have 3 structured programs designed for youth and young adults ages 12 to 18. And then RYLA is also inclusive of participants between 18 and 30. We have just around 19,000 Interact clubs. And we're celebrating 60 years of service in Interact this year, founded in 1963, as well as annually around 50,000 participants in our RYLA program, predominantly in that 14 to 18 category. So for our youth and young adults. And then our Rotary Youth Exchange program, pre-pandemic, had about 8,000 participants between our long-term and short-term program. And we're seeing those numbers steadily increase and rise as people adjust to our new normal now amidst the ongoing and slowly declining pandemic. So a little bit about Jeremy and I's involvement in youth service at the international level is this Youth and Interact Advisory Councils to the board. So for the first time in Rotary's history, we've had a council and advisory group to Rotary's board of directors made up of our youth program participants and recent alumni. We hear and have heard for decades of the meaningful contributions and support of our members who are committed and passionate about youth service, but we so very rarely hear from our actual participants and alumni if the programs that we design for them are actually meeting their needs. And so we've decided to make a commitment to Rotary's diversity, equity, and inclusion statement and elevate youth voices by pulling a seat up at the table for our Interact, RYLA, and Youth Exchange program participants and alumni to hear their stories. The main concept of this is no decisions about us without us. And that's how we elevate youth voice at the international level. So we've got our chairs here on the screen. You can see Aniela, Rebecca, Camille, and Hannah, who've been instrumental in not only surfacing issues that are important and critical for young people as they participate in our programs, but to advise our board of directors on a strategic and transformational approach to youth service and member engagement that will help our organization to thrive now and into the future. I know you all saw the promo video for service learning, but to just give you a little bit extra about what service learning is, it's an internationally recognized pedagogy that blends service outcomes and educational outcomes through a structured design program that has 5 phases built in, with a workbook and instructional curriculum designed both for youth-led service and the adult advisors to help young people develop 21st century skills, build confidence, and develop as leaders while contributing to both community and global impacts. We have an entire designed curriculum designed specifically for Rotary in conjunction with our partner, the National Youth Leadership Council, available in Rotary's Learning Center, including downloadable workbooks for both youth participants and their advisors that walk you through step-by-step how to plan a service learning project through the 5 phases you see on the screen. Why participate in youth service? Why not just continue the traditional service we've always enjoyed in our youth programs? Because youth service is youth-led. It puts youth in the position where they can advocate for themselves and their communities, while also helping them to hone and develop those important skills that are going to help them lead their clubs, communities, and help us to grow into the future. It also helps young people to identify and address community needs that create lasting impact. So they're actually going to be looking at the root causes of problems so that they can feel very good about the lasting effects of their involvement. Of course, sorry, I forgot to advance the slides here, but you can see they're youth-led, honing skills, and creating a lasting impact. So the service learning resources we have, again, are these Youth Guide to Service Learning online course with downloadable workbook. And we have a 3-part series for our advisors because we really want our members to be in the best possible position to support our young people through this journey. If you haven't taken a look at them already, you can find them in Rotary's Learning Center. You do have to be signed in to your My Rotary account to access those resources, but that workbook is downloadable so that you can take that into the classroom and actually have a hands-on experience with your young people. And this can be used in Interact clubs or as part of a RILA activity. It can also be used as a framework for either a virtual or an in-person youth exchange experience to help introduce the concept of service for our youth exchange students. And as I mentioned, we're celebrating 60 years of Interact, so happy birthday, Interact. And if you haven't already picked up a physical copy or logged into your digital version of the Rotary magazine, check out our feature article, Forever Young, celebrating 60 years of service in Interact. And of course, we've got Interact resources for your club and district to support Interact programs, including our recently updated Interact Handbook, a guide for interactors. So for the first time, we have a handbook specifically designed for clubs to be youth-led, to give them resources about how to effectively run and manage their clubs, develop service projects, fundraise, and of course, work together with their sponsors. And soon we'll be having a new version of our Interact guide for sponsors and advisors. We're currently in the process of updating that, especially based on the feedback we've gotten from our Interact Advisory Council. We also have courses in Rotary's Learning Center dedicated to helping support district Interact committees to plan effective district-wide service projects, support and empower growth through Interact clubs, and to support the members who are providing that kind of service to our young people. And as always, we have resources around youth protection to make sure that you're creating an environment that promotes health, safety, and well-being of our young people at all times. If you're new to Interact or have never experienced Interact before, we'd like to give you a window into what Interact looks like around the world. We just concluded our 2022 Interact Awards, where we have 172 videos, 58 photos, and 73 essays submitted from Interact clubs around the world around the important topic of their commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. So if you'd like to get an idea of what Interact looks like, be inspired, show these at your next club meeting, take a look at our Interact Awards available for viewing on our Interact Facebook page or our Interact YouTube channel. The Best Video Award winner, just to give you an example, was the Interact Club of Golden Gate International College in Nepal. I think you'd be challenged to see that any Rotary Club could do their commitment to DEI better than the Interact Club of Golden Gate International College. So if you want to be inspired, please take less than 3 minutes of your day and at least watch our Best Video Award winner. For RILA, we have a lot of new resources, including a recently updated RILA handbook, which includes specific callouts to how to incorporate DEI into your RILA activities, both for youth and for young adults, as well as how to empower youth to develop and design their own RILA curriculums. Again, another expression of our commitment to elevating youth voice. We've got resources available in our RILA learning topic in Rotary's Learning Center, including how to create a virtual RILA, not just because we were in a global pandemic for many years, but virtual RILAs make leadership development more accessible, more inclusive, and allow you to broaden the scope of your RILA without ever having to set foot outside your door. And likewise, we have resources in our Learning Center also for district RILA committee members. Always check out our Rotary Voices blog, where we post stories to inspire you about how to get involved in youth service. And you'll see many of those stories coming this month in honor of Youth Service Month and throughout the year as we celebrate different accomplishments of our youth programs. And of course, for those of you interested in Rotary Youth Exchange, in-person travel resumed on the 1st of July, 2022 for certified districts. And we have resources to help districts prepare for and plan safe, inclusive youth exchanges, including how to develop a crisis management plan and how to protect program participants from abuse or harassment, and to support our commitment to our LGBTQIA students within our programs. We have a specific guide for DEI and Rotary Youth Exchange. So some of you might be wondering, well, what happened to Rotaract? Wasn't Rotaract a program for young leaders? And since its inception in 1968, it was supported as a program for youth and young adults. However, Rotaract in 2019 was recognized and elevated as a distinct membership type of our organization. So now Rotaract clubs are supported much like Rotary clubs through, at the Secretariat, our club and district support staff, but as well as taking a concerted effort to rethink and relook at how we treat young adults within our organization as we create more diverse and inclusive membership types. So Rotaract will always be fondly remembered as one of our programs, and of course Rotaractors are celebrated as alumni of our programs, but we're really excited to help explore how Rotaract can be elevated in a lot of the same ways that Rotary Voices are elevated, including allowing Rotaract clubs to co-sponsor with a Rotary club their own Interact club. Rotaract clubs are becoming more and more interested in acting as club hosts for youth exchange students, counselors, advisors. We have a growing contingent of Rotecs, which are Rotary Youth Exchange alumni who form and support Rotaract clubs, getting more involved in our youth programs. So we welcome Rotaract's new elevated status as also champions for youth service and how they can encourage and empower our young people through sponsorship and mentorship. We have a lot of ways for you to stay connected with us and the resources we provide, including 2 newsletters that you can subscribe to when you log in to My Rotary, Young Leaders in Action and Youth Exchange News. Young Leaders in Action comes out every month, and Youth Exchange News every 2 months, and is a great way to stay connected to interesting stories, updated resources, and events that are happening around the world. Likewise, if you have an event that you'd like featured in our newsletter, you can always write to us at youngleaders@rotary.org, and we'll include the details and link to your event in our newsletter to help you promote. I encourage all of you, if you aren't already planning, to attend the Expanding Reach Partner with Youth Service webinar series occurring on 18th of May, this Thursday, or not this Thursday, but Thursday, to learn about how partnering with young people in your community can help expand your reach and increase your impact through service activities. And of course, I know we'll be talking about it a little bit later, but there is a breakout session called The Future is Now, Growing Youth Voices in Rotary, happening at the International Convention in Melbourne, as well as a Youth Exchange Officers Pre-Convention. If you're planning on attending the convention or any of its other functions in Melbourne, we encourage you to participate in those aligned with youth service, and welcome you also at the House of Friendship booth to celebrate Interact's 60th anniversary to share your story. Thank you again for having me here. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you about the importance of youth service and how you can get involved, and we'll be glad to stay around for any questions that you might have.
Thanks so much, Jesse, for that great update, and for your and your team's work taking youth programs, our youth programs, from strength to strength. And it's got an amazing future, and I'm just passionate to see where it's going to go. It really is strengthening an organization. And what a great group of people on those interactive advisory councils and youth advisory councils. The old adage goes that I think John Smart uses the term that if I'm the smartest person in the room, I'm in the wrong room. I can tell you I'm definitely in the right room, because they're all a lot smarter than I am. Yeah. So that doesn't take much, though, having said that. So moving on, so you actually mentioned Youth Voice associated with DEI, and, which of course is one of President Jen's and the board's key focuses, and the Rotary International's key focuses this year. So that segues really well into our next guest, and it's my great pleasure to introduce a friend of mine, Andre Mariah, who's none other than the District Governor-elect for District 6900. And we're tremendously proud of her, not just because she'll be a great DG, but also because she's one of only 6 Rotarians in the world who've been honored as People of Action with the Champions of Inclusion Award. So, Andre, over to you to tell us more about this exciting news and your experiences.
Thank you, Jeremy. Indeed, this was an honor, unexpected, but I am so humbled that I was chosen to represent District 6900 specifically, and the United States, period, in South Africa. Knowing that Jennifer Jones, our international president, wanted to focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion, she sought 6 individuals from all over the world who had demonstrated their work in the area. Understanding that there are barriers many times for individuals of different nationalities in participating and leadership in Rotary, period. It is difficult to have those kinds of conversations, and it makes people sometimes feel uneasy. However, Jennifer sought individuals who had boots on the ground that were committed to using their time, their talent, and their experience in the field, working with those who had been undeserved, unrecognized, and those who had not been seen in the communities. Never thought that I would be an individual chosen to do that. However, I was chosen. And as a part of that, she sent us to South Africa with us, those individuals who worked with me that were recognized, to honor us. The question might be asked, why South Africa? That's the first question I asked her. She said, why not? It is a country where it had always been an exclusion rather than inclusion for people who had been marginalized, enslaved, and had to fight for their rights to stand and to be individuals and even humans. She took us to the Desmond Tutu Institute, where we learned a lot more about Desmond Tutu and Leah, who had done the work in the field of inclusiveness, and even Nelson Mandela. It was a very moving experience. Now, this is not the first time that we've had champions of inclusion, but this is the first time that we had a group of people who were chosen for diversity, equity, and inclusion. We've had Women of Action recognized, Business Awards recognized, Champions of Peace, we've had Champions of Health, and Champions of Girl Empowerment. Why not Champions of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion? In order for us, as an international organization, to do the work that we said that we were going to do, to look at all areas of disabilities, learning styles, cultural marital status, we needed to look at those marginalized individuals in our clubs, in the United States specifically I'm talking about, but in the world. And even though we are globally accepted as an organization that embraces everybody, we need to go back and look at whether or not we're really doing the work inside of our class, inside of our clubs. Are we looking in the community to accept all of the all of the skills and talents of individuals who are there? We have been marginalized for so long in our thinking of what diversity, equity, and inclusion means. We're now asking all clubs to go back and to look. Are we really looking at whether or not leadership is recognizing or looking like the organization that it serves? So all 6 of us who were chosen were those individuals who had done individual work in the field. Mine specifically was with the community of the undeserved and the unrecognized in Thomasville, with Spark Thomasville. These were young entrepreneurs who were really trying to start businesses, but did not have the acumen to make that happen. So in 12 weeks, we mentored them, we got business plans for them, we helped them to go from a dream to a reality, making sure that we gave them the proper support. These are future Rotarians. These are individuals who want to make a difference in their community. So I'm just honored that I was chosen, that my time and my talents were recognized as people of action. So with that, I'll say thanks for the opportunity. I think we're going to have a breakout group. I can talk more about that. One thing I want to leave with you, Jennifer Jones is a person of action. She walks the walk and not only talk it. She was with us every step of the way, from the beginning when we got there to the rehearsals of us being on stage telling our story. And we told our personal story from brokenness to hope. And now I'm adding to knowing. So I appreciate the opportunity to be a part of a great organization that focuses on inclusiveness of all individuals. And with that, I'll give it back to you, Jeremy.
Thanks so much, Andre. Great to hear about your wonderful experiences and the great work that you continue to do. Keep it up. So now let's hear from our coordinators with their updates, starting with Regional Rotary Foundation Coordinator, Sandra Hempstead. Sandra, over to you.
Thank you, Jeremy. It's been great to listen to both of the presenters today. So I wanted to let you know some of our results through the end of March. Zone 33 has total giving of 8.2 million. Our annual fund is slightly down, about 6% down, but we're remembering that last year we had a stellar year, blew away all of our objectives and goals for the year. Our polio giving for Zone 33 is up about 1%. And for Zone 34, our total giving is 6.1 million. Our annual fund is down about 3%, but again, we had a great year last year. Our polio giving, though, is up 22%. So it is stellar, the amount of funds that folks have given to polio this year. I want to thank ARRFC Bernie Bridell and John Medina for working together to get the Zone 34 Rainbow Report started. That's a new customized report that we'll be using each month. I also would like to mention just a few other things that are going on in the two zones. We are working very hard with David Stovall to obtain some feedback from each of you. Zone 33 did a great feedback session in Virginia Crossings. They had about 60 people and received a lot of feedback on Foundation, what we're doing well, where we need to focus on some of the opportunities to improve. Zone 34 will be doing a similar session in Jacksonville as one of our breakouts. So if you're interested in providing feedback into our Foundation Action Plan, this is the way to do it. Additionally, we have two Zoom calls coming up. Tomorrow, May 2nd at 5:30, there's a Zoom about the endowment with information and tools for Foundation leaders. This is for Zone 33. And for Zone 34, we have our Foundation Boot Camp meeting, which is a Zoom on May 11th at 6 p.m. Both of these Zoom meetings are listed on DACDB, and you can sign up for them there. So with this, I'm finished, and I am going to turn it back over to Jeremy.
Mike, over to you.
Thanks, Jeremy. Yeah, there's a lot going on with membership. We look at you all on this call as the leaders, not just on our district and our zones, but in your clubs as well. So here are two places that you can help. As many of you know, we kicked off a membership action plan on our zones. A critical part of that plan is giving clubs information about their clubs, about how they attract new members and how well they retain existing members. We have some clubs, for example, that lose no members and others that lose more than 30% of their members every year. We have some clubs that attract large numbers of new members and others that attract none. To give you an example, I worked with a district this weekend that has 9 clubs that have attracted 0 new members in the past 9 months, and most of them aren't small clubs. That's not abnormal, but these are things that clubs can fix once they know the facts. So here's what we're doing. This week, we're sending each club officer a link that allows them to see how their club is doing Just one click of the mouse, and they'll see their trends along with a prescription for their club, and they can even create a survey to satisfy their members better. Very simple, very fast. We're trying to make things as easy as possible. So please encourage your club officers to at least look and maybe to act. So second thing, real quickly, we also have a major push with the district for a big welcome home effort. We've got a large number of members we haven't seen in months, and it's one of the worst times that I've ever seen in my experience for people just not being around. We're not alone. The Wall Street Journal reported last month that all sorts of public activities are down by 25%, from going to movies to going camping, you name it. But if clubs don't connect with these folks who are missing, there's a high likelihood we'll lose them. They're good people, but the longer they go without experiencing the connections with other Rotarians, the less value they get from Rotary. So please work with your club and bring these folks back home. So that's it for membership. Marshall, how about public image?
Well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. And I just wanted to give an update on the Zone 34 public image team. We just had our boot camp last week led by Susan Corder and her new Zone 34 public image team that's going to start on July 1st. They announced the new Zone 34 public image citation that folks will be able to qualify for. Exciting news is that we have expanded the zone public image citation. So now in coordination with Billy Black, public image coordinator for Zone 33, 33 and 34 will be able to go through this process in the upcoming year to go through these various tasks and build out a public image plan and get citations at the end of the year. So super excited to be coordinating across the zones with Billy Black and Susan Corder to get this in place. I can tell you, looking at the results for the past year, we had over 100 clubs in Zone 34 qualify for a citation, with 40 of them qualifying for the platinum citation with highest honors. So that means they completed all of the tasks that were required. And so that was super exciting. Zone 34 doesn't have any upcoming sessions for the rest of this Rotary year. You can go to elevaterotary.org and watch the recording of the boot camp from last week. That's on the homepage. Zone 33 has a masterclass coming up on June 27th, where they will be talking about running a digital marketing campaign. And Billy tells me that they're also going to talk about the citation process for the upcoming year. So that's super exciting. And then finally, for those of you in Zone 34, we have our Zone 34 seminar coming up. It's going to be June 24th and 25th. We have some fantastic speakers. We have past Rotary International President Barry Rassin. We have Rotary International Director Jeremy Hurst. And we have a super inspirational story from Sandra Schenk that you won't want to miss. Truly an inspirational story. And it really will hit on a lot of the DEI things that we talked about today. So go to DACDB or scan that QR code to register, and look forward to seeing you all in Jacksonville in late June.
That's great news that we're working together as zones. I really think that's the smart thing to do, and I'm really happy to see us doing it both on the membership and foundation action plan. And by the way, there's rumors that we have a communications action plan coming along the way as well as others. So it's been great to have everyone here this afternoon. I think actually we're going to pass over to Chris now to wrap up properly on the breakouts, and we'll go from there. Chris, over to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Jeremy. We are going to open up breakout rooms in just a couple of minutes, but first we're going to talk about some upcoming events. On May 1st, we have the Zone 34 membership boot camp. On May 2nd, we have the Zone 33-34 Rotary Works Career Communications Program. May 4th, Cultivating Effective Projects webinar number 3. On May 8th, Zones 33-34 Membership Action Plan webinar number 10. May 11th, Zone 34 Foundation Boot Camp. May 18th, Cultivating Effective Projects webinar number 4. And of course, the 27th through the 31st, the RI Convention. Make sure if you are interested and you have not done so, go ahead and sign up for the Southland reception at the RI Convention. As Jeremy said, spots are extremely limited at this point, and we do expect that to sell out. And then, of course, don't forget the Zone 34 Leadership Training Seminar on the 24th and 25th of June. We will not have a Zoomformation meeting in June, but they will restart coming up in July. Be on the lookout for that. All right, so we're going to go ahead and open up the breakout rooms. You should have the ability to choose your breakout room. It'll be one of 4. You'll be able to visit with the RI director, or you can log on with Jesse to learn more about programs for young leaders. And of course, Andrea will be on to talk about inclusion issues. And as always, you can hop on to the coordinators forum. So we're going to go ahead and get those started. The rooms will automatically close out at 2 o'clock. So you do not have to come back to the main meeting room at that point. All right, off you go.